This is a demo to plot a mass function defined by users. And it requires a user to provide the range of the x values and also the formula of the function. First of all, let's open the template file. So we always start with the head comments. And we will give a name of this file is plot mass function .m. And the purpose of this file is to plot a mass function defined by user. User should provide the range of x values and the mass formula, mass function formula. Okay. And we'll put the date, which is today, January 29th, 2018. And I put my name here as a programmer. And the description of the change, you can make it like original version, or I would prefer to say version 1.0. Define variables. And at this point, I think we can easily foresee that we are going to have two variables. One is called x, is x values of the function. And then you have a y value. Which is, we use y as a variable. Those are the two main variables used in this script. Of course, there might be some temporary variables used in the script, and we will comment those variables if we use them. All right, so as usual, we are going to write up the comment first, and those comments defines the steps of the script. So first of all, we always clear the workspace. And this is very obvious here, because if you look at the workspace here, we already have a variable called x. And we're going to use a variable x in our script. In order to avoid any effect from this variable in the workspace, we remove them. So it is to clear the workspace using a function called clear. And the next step is to input the range of x. Well, so this is something we need to do a further explanation. So how to define the range of x? So here we're going to say user should provide the range as a two-element I'll put a hyphen here, two-element array or vector. So the first element is the starting x value. The second element is the ending value. Okay. Now, let's do it. So what I'm going to do is to define a temporary variable called x range. To store the x range. So this is what I'm going to do. So x range equals input. So you will give a prompt. So please enter the range in the form x0, x1. So if we provide this prompt, the user should understand that he is going to provide the starting value and ending value. Once you did that, you will say generate. The next step, you will generate the x vector. Okay. Once you generate the x vector, you're going to ask user for the formula, function formula. And this will be another input function. And the last is to plot the function. Okay? All right, so to generate the x vector, we will use a line space. And the starting value is x range, which is the first element. And the ending value will be the x range, the second element. And for example, if you want to prefer to use 100 data points to cover the range, you enter 100, or you just leave it out by default. All right, so in this case, we generate the x vector. So the next is to ask the user for the formula. So in this case, you can just use y directly to take the formula. So we will use the input function again. Let's say, please enter the function formula using x as variable. Once it did that, and when the user entered an expression with an x, and the MATLAB will take it as the whole expression and then calculate the values based on the x vector and then assign the values to y. So this is how you can how you can enter the formula directly. Once you did that, you got the y value, and the last step is to plot the function called x and y. And you're done. So the next step is to save the file. So we say save as, and this time what we're going to do is to name it. We already made it, plot mass function. Okay. All right, so let's give it a try. So in the command window, I will just plot mass function. And then it will ask for a range. So first of all, let's just try it out as a sine wave. So it's from 0 to 2 pi. All right. And then it will say us enter the formula using x as a variable. So I say sine x, hit enter. Here you go. We got the sine wave plotted out in the figure window. Now the next thing, we can do something a little bit complicated. For example, I'll run it again. So this time we'll give it a range like from 0 to, or we could give it like negative 2 to 2. Okay? And this time what we're going to do is to give it like, say, a complicated function called sine x, right? Multiply, make sure you use a dot, the exponent. It's like sine x times e to the x. Here you go. So this is the plot of this complicated function. So that's the end of this demo.